Hollywood nostalgia behind them, Kim and Fran have an appointment with Professor V.S. Ramachandran and his students at UC San Diego.
Yes.
They're going to test the idea that there's an intrinsic relationship between Kim's disability and his extraordinary memory.
See, in science, what you often want is a litmus test. One simple experiment that'll nail it down.
A long-standing theory is that savants are not capable of the conceptual thinking that most of us do all the time. We sift through the information we encounter. It's a process Rama calls conceptual encoding. Kim doesn't appear to do this sifting.
Don't say anything to me. Don't say anything. Please don't say anything, okay?
Hold the jack.
Graduate student Shai is about to give Kim a list of words, most of which will be conceptually related to the concept sweet. Shai will never say the word sweet.
Ready?
Sour.
Sour.
Candy.
Candy.
Sugar.
Sugar. You
Bitter.
are my wonder girl, Archie.
First, listen to them.
Good.
Good.
Taste.
Taste.
Tooth.
Gold tooth.
Nice.
That's right. Yeah, I made it.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Heart.
Heart.
Cake.
Cake.
Tart.
Tart.
Pie.
Pie.
It's all the same list, right?
Yes, sir.
After a few minutes, Shai will see what Kim can remember.
Bitter.
Bitter is.
Candy.
Candy is.
Tooth.
Gold tooth.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Was sweet on the list?
No, sweet wasn't.
Sweet wasn't on the list.
98% of us would say sweet was on the list because we would have focused on the concept rather than the words themselves.
Cake.
Cake was.
Pie.
Pie was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kim has got every word right.
What's exciting about these results is, and what it's showing you already, is that Kim, it turns out, is not editing, censoring, and encoding the information in the same way that normal people do. And it's this lack of conceptual encoding that makes some of these savants adhere slavishly to every little detail and actually improves their memory in some respects. But of course, they're paying a price for it. Can I ask you a question?
Kim can't seem to get his head around a concept as non-literal as a metaphor.
All that glitters is not gold. What does that mean?
I'll give you a pound of my flesh if you don't watch out. You know what?
Okay, what if I said George Bush is not exactly a rocket scientist, is he?
He's the President of the United States.
Okay. But when I say he's not exactly a rocket scientist, what does that mean?
He doesn't know about how to look his message in the stars.
Ah, okay. Well.
You know.
Yes, I know what you mean, yes. Kim, it turns out, is very bad at metaphor. And we said, get a grip on yourself. What does that mean? And he starts doing this, literally grabbing himself. And this is extraordinary if you think about it. Here's a person who's otherwise quite intelligent and, charismatic and carries on a conversation. But you ask him to get a grip on himself, he starts doing that. And this tendency to take metaphors literally is another example of a failure of conceptual encoding.
Lawyer.
Medicine.
With their two simple tests, Rama and his students have shown that Kim's great memory skills would not be possible if he could think more like the rest of us. Kim may be weak on conceptual encoding, but he has a distinct advantage when it comes to remembering postal codes. Kim has been interested in zip codes for years. He and Fran have a bit of spare time in their itinerary to indulge that interest. Gary Reblin works for the US Postal Service and is a zip code expert.
Did you know that there are 42,000 five-digit zip codes in the United States?
What was the name of the city that you grew up in?
I grew up in Swampscott, Mass.
019 is East Essex, 018 is West Essex.
And what was the area code there, too?
Your 617 becomes a 781.
Absolutely, they changed the area code. I pulled out a pretty small example in my hometown. It's not a large place, and he rattled it off like that.
018 is West Essex.
He gave me the zip code. He gave me my area code.
617 becomes 781.
He knew not only the area code, but he also knew the fact that that had changed back in the 1980s.
You know that?
Absolutely, they changed the area code.
I know the whole San Francisco area. 3 is Redwood City, 4 is Palo Alto.
It really has to almost be straight memory. We didn't use any formulas, so it's really a remarkable bit of memorization.
7 is Berkeley, 8 is Richmond, 9 is Marin County. You know that?
By the time we enter a zip code that we're looking at, it is about 20 seconds before you get the information back to a customer, where you asked him and you had the answer in about 1.
021, 022, depending upon where you are.
What's that?
If only Kim were as predictable as a computer.
Boom!
The US mail could use his talents.
It just barely hit the foul pole.
But he's erratic, and his way of communicating is somewhat unorthodox. Scientists at Caltech in Pasadena are interested in the way Kim relates to other people. Psychologist Lynn Paul is carefully observing Kim while she tests him.
There's no area.
Dr. Paul specializes in Kim's condition, a genesis of the corpus callosum, and she's beginning to draw some conclusions about him.
5, 3, 2, 1, I got it away from you.
Kim is socially outgoing, but with very poor social skills. So he wants to engage, but he cannot do it effectively.
You don't want me to be around you.
My theory is that part of his incredible rote memory is he's learned that these are ways that he can engage. He knows information about society. He knows information about history. If you tell him where you're from, he can tell you all sorts of things about it, and that way he has something to talk to you about. The fact that you don't care is irrelevant to him, because at least he's giving something.
You're a great lady.
He does the same thing everywhere.
It's a great thing you look like a really fine lady.
He has his 4 pat phrases that he says.
You have been a really important woman. You have made yourself important. You have made yourself like a man of greatness and promise.
It's just kind of a very simple system that he has.
Are you a great lady who is like everyone else?
Nobody else in the world is quite like Kim,
You just turned 54 years.
but Dr. Paul has noticed that he shares some characteristics with her other patients.
One of the things that's common in a genesis of the corpus callosum is some deficits in theory of mind. And theory of mind is the ability for me to understand what you're thinking, and even more so for me to understand what you think I'm thinking. And in talking to Kim, you often have the experience that he has no clue what I'm thinking. He has no clue what's going on around him. I'm going to ask you some true-false questions about that story, okay?
No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you are not. You are. You will never touch me.
I'm not touching you.
You're free.
It's almost like Kim doesn't even really see beyond himself. So he has this desire to connect, and he's so lost in his own desire to connect. He doesn't ask you about you. He just approaches, like he's crowding you. You have to say them. I can't
Yes.
tell them to you again. You have to say
You
them.
must repeat them every time you say.
Is he normal? Is he common in any way? No.
It was all in the same place. Go back.
Okay. It's fairly common in individuals with agenesis of the corpus callosum that they will have some area that they know a lot of detail. Kim just has many, many areas.
1X.
But does Kim know enough to make an impression on university students? Soon he'll be facing his toughest audience ever in Oxford.
What's the smallest prime factor of 30,031?
What is it?